My name is Colleen, and this is my kitchen. I've struggled with my weight my entire life. After trying every diet in the book without any success, I came to the realization that diets don't work. I started my journey in January 2010 at a size 26W, weighing just over 300 pounds. By July 2011, I had lost over 120 pounds and reached my goal of a size 12, no W. And I have kept the weight off ever since. What's my secret? Eating healthy and moving more. Now I'm here to show you how you can make food that is healthy and delicious and lose weight just like I have. Because if I can do it, you can too.
Hello and welcome back to my kitchen. Tonight we're going to be cooking outside on the grill. We're going to be making a really easy Sriracha lime shrimp skewers. They're absolutely delicious, really easy to make up, and they cook really quickly on the grill. And then to accompany that, we're going to be making a yummy fennel citrus salad. And I just love the flavor combination of the spicy Sriracha with the tart lime and that marinade on the shrimp. And then we have this really great citrus salad to go with it. So I think you'll like this, and let's go ahead and give it a start. We want to get our shrimp marinating. You want to let them marinate for about an hour. If you wanted to do this on a weeknight, get them marinating before you leave for work in the morning, and then all you have to do is throw them on the grill when you come home in the afternoon. So to start with our marinade, we're going to use the juice of 2 limes here, and I like to roll these to soften them up so that they'll juice a little bit easier. And then just take the juice right out of them, just like that. Next up, we're going to use 1 teaspoon of fish sauce. This is very common in Asian cooking, and you will find this in the Asian foods aisle. It's just a fermented fish sauce. It's very salty, just adds a little depth of flavor to the marinade. And then we want the star of our show, Sriracha. Sriracha is an Asian, very spicy hot chili sauce, and we're going to use 2 tablespoons of that. If this was going directly on our food, like if I was using it in a dip, I would use a little bit less. But because it's a marinade and a lot of this will get discarded once it's done marinating, I'm not worried about overheating it, so I'm going to use a full 2 tablespoons. Then I have 1 clove of garlic, and you can mince that in. You know me, I love my garlic pressed, so I'm just going to press that in there. And then I'm going to need about a teaspoon of minced ginger, fresh ginger root. So I'm just going to break off a little piece here. It's got really papery thin peel on it, I guess you would call it. So I'm just going to use my knife to cut that away. You can also use the back of a spoon to scrape it off. It scrapes off really easy because it is so thin. Just for the purposes of time and speed here and ease, I'm just going to use my knife. So once you have that skin off, you want to go ahead and mince it up. And so to do that, what I do is I cut it lengthwise into thin slices, one direction. And then once I have those in these nice thin slices like this, I'm going to cut them in the other direction. And that's going to leave me with really thin sticks. So now all I have to do is line those sticks up and chop them again, and that gives me little tiny pieces. The last thing I'm going to add to my marinade are some kefir lime leaves, and you'll find these in the produce section over with the Asian ingredients like they're usually with the fresh ginger actually. And they keep really, really well in the freezer. So I keep these in the freezer. They keep for about 6 months, and then I just pull them out when I need them, and they're absolutely fantastic in Asian cooking or any sort of Asian inspired dishes. So what I'm going to do is just remove the rib or that vein that runs down the center of the leaf here. And then once I have that vein removed, I just want to mince these up really finely. And this is going to add a little additional lime flavor, but the taste is slightly different than what you get from a lime, from the lime juice. It's a very unique taste. Like I said, it's a little additional lime flavor. It's really, really good. It just adds a nice kind of depth and complexity of flavor to the dish. It also adds little green pieces that will be adhered to your grilled skewer, so it adds a little bit of visual interest and color. Now that I have all of my ingredients together, I'm just going to take a whisk, mix that up really well. And then I have 1 pound of colossal shrimp here. That's about 16 colossal shrimp, which is perfect because this recipe is going to serve 4. So that's 4 shrimp per person. And I'm just going to pour that right over. Let's give that a good toss. And then I'm going to refrigerate this for about an hour to let all of those flavors settle in. While our shrimp is marinating, let's go ahead and get our salad started because we want that to soak in all of those flavors and let all the vegetables that we're going to be mixing together really soak up the flavors of the dressing for about, I'd say, 30 to 60 minutes minimum before you serve it. So that's going to start with 2 cups of shredded green cabbage. Pour that right in my mixing bowl there. And then I have 1 cup of shredded purple cabbage. Next, I'm going to add about a cup of jicama, also peeled and julienned into nice little sticks. And jicama you will find it's usually about this big around. This is just a piece of one that's left. Has this kind of brown skin on it in the store, and it keeps for a while. You'll see the outside gets kind of discolored. It's white inside, but if I slice that outer piece away like that, it's nice and fresh inside. And I just love jicama in salads because it's got this great kind of the same texture as an apple, very kind of watery, very crisp, and very kind of neutral in flavor, so it doesn't overpower the dish. So what I want to do with this now is go ahead and just cut off this papery skin. The easiest way to cut this into sticks is to go ahead and use my mandolin slicer. I'm going to have to use one anyway here for my fennel, so I might as well get started with this. And so what I'm going to do is just cut this in really thin slices, and you want to watch your fingers on here because these blades are sharp and you don't want to cut them. Once you have that jicama sliced, then you just cut it again lengthwise and you get these lovely little sticks to add to the salad. Now let's add our fennel, and you'll find fennel in the grocery store in your produce section. It looks something like this. It's a bulb, and the fronds up here, the greenery, can be used we're actually going to use some of this in our dressing. It kind of smells like licorice, and you get a little taste of that too, a very faint taste of that in the fennel as well. And I just love to use this in this dish, but the best way to do it is to slice it super, super thin. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and change the setting on my mandolin here to the thinnest that I can get. And I've just cut off the bottom, and what I'm going to do is slice it so it's almost shaved. I do want to go ahead and save the top of this because I am going to use some of the greenery in our dressing, but I'll set that aside for now and we'll pick that up again later. For now, I have these great thin pieces of fennel, but you will notice that sometimes in the center you get this kind of heart at the center that's a little thick. So I'm going to just take my knife and just do a really quick chop once through, just to make sure I get smaller pieces in there that are easy to blend and easy to pick up on the fork and eat without making you look like a piglet. Next up, the last thing that we're going to add to our salad before we go ahead and mix up the dressing is our citrus element. And so for that, we're going to use 2 oranges and 2 grapefruit. I am using somewhat small grapefruit here, so if you're using a larger grapefruit, try just using 1. And we're going to go ahead and segment these. Now, you might see in the produce section, in the ready-made section, you'll see jars or containers of grapefruit or orange segments. I highly encourage you to skip past those and just get your fresh oranges and grapefruit and do this yourself. First of all, those are packed with a lot of preservatives to try to keep them fresh. Second of all, they're not fresh. And third, they're a lot more expensive than just doing it yourself, and this is super easy. So I've cut the bottom and the top off to get myself a flat surface, and then I'm just going to take my knife and run it around that rind there to expose those inner membranes. And I'll come back and trim it up because I do want all that white removed. Once you have the peel off, then you can segment it. Now I recommend having a bowl, and we're going to use this to catch the juice because these are very juicy. So we're going to use this to catch the juice, and then we're also going to use the juice that's remaining within the dressing that we're going to make for the salad. Now to segment it, what you want to do is find these membranes and go ahead and run your knife just down to the center there on one side of the membrane. Find the next one on the other side of that segment, run your knife down there, and there's your segment. It just pops out. Once you have your segment popped out, go ahead and cut it in half. That gives us a little more fruit to play with. And then we're going to do the same thing. So I take my knife, run it down the other side of that membrane, other side of the segment, pop out the next segment. So I'm just going to keep doing that until I have all of the segments cut. I am going to go ahead and keep this interior because we're going to use some of that juice in there, as I mentioned, for our dressing. So once I'm done cutting this up, I'll come back and show you what I do with the pulp that's left. Now that we have all of the nice veggies and the fruit for our salad, we're going to go ahead and mix up the dressing. And so I told you we wanted to save this pulp from after we cut out those segments. And what I'm going to do is just take that pulp and just gently squeeze it in my hand and get out some juice. It's going to leave me with about 1/3 of a cup, roughly, 1/4 to 1/3 of a cup of fruit juice in here. Now we want to thicken that up, and so we're going to add 2 tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil. Make sure you're using extra virgin olive oil. It's a little lighter and fruitier than regular olive oil. And then I want a tablespoon of honey, and you always use your tablespoon to measure the oil first, because then when you measure the honey, it comes right out just like that. And I alluded to the fact that we will be using some of that greenery from the top of that fennel. If you get any of the very tops with the tubes, go ahead and pull those out like these little stems. What you really want is this green, really fine frond. And so I'm just going to do a rough chop on that. This is just going to add a little extra fennel flavor to the dish, and I also just love the kind of splash of green color that it adds. Go ahead and add that to our dressing. Just like that. Take a whisk or a fork, whatever you have on hand, and just kind of slowly mix that up. Get the honey loosened until it really just melts into the dish. And now we're just going to pour that right over our mixture here and give that a good toss. For a finishing touch, I have 1 tablespoon of black sesame seeds. They're also sold under the name of Nigella. And I'm just going to sprinkle those in. I love the visual interest these add to the dish. Sprinkle those in and give it a final toss. And then I'm just going to let this sit until we're ready to serve. I do recommend letting it sit for about 30 to 60 minutes to let the flavors really combine. So now that our shrimp are marinated up, all I have to do is put them on the skewers and go roast them. Now I am using bamboo skewers, so whenever you're using wooden skewers instead of metal, you want to make sure that you soak them in water for at least 20 minutes, 20 to 30 minutes is the guideline, and that's just so that they don't burn up on the grill. Now I'm going to barbecue these for about 2 minutes on each side, just until they pink up and are cooked through. And while they're cooking, I like to bake them or baste them with the leftover marinade for a little extra flavor. Our shrimp skewers have grilled up. Our fennel citrus salad is all ready. So let's go ahead and serve this up. As I said, this is 4 servings. So each person will get 1 skewer. Just like that. How beautiful is that? Easy, good for you, absolutely delicious. I hope you'll give this a try. I'm going to go sit down and enjoy my dinner. I hope you'll give this a try and let me know what you think, and I will see you next time in my kitchen.